You're watching News Central now on News Central Television. I am Adebola Adeduba. The top stories at this hour. ECOWAS holds 66th ordinary meeting as President Tinubu urges regional bloc to learn from Ghana's democratic process. NDLEA intercepts 3.3 billion naira drug shipment from Canada, arrests 3. DRC, Rwanda peace talks cancelled. And details shortly. News Central now at this hour begins in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, where the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government has approved the exit of 3 countries of Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso from the Union from January 29, 2025. And this was as the authority chaired by President Bola Tinubu met in Abuja to deliberate on recent events within the sub-region and prefer strategies aimed at improving the well-being of citizens within the community.
It was the 66th Ordinary Summit of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. In attendance were heads of state from ECOWAS member countries. The president of the ECOWAS Commission gave highlights of the current state of the community.
On the economic front, member states have shown resilience amid global and regional challenges. While global growth has slowed to 3.2% this year, ECOWAS countries are expecting a slightly improved average growth rate of 3.8% compared to 3.6% in 2023. However, inflation and public debt levels remain significant concern, highlighting the urgency of fiscal prudence and efficient debt management.
President Bola Tinubu, the chair of the authority, reminded member states of the objective of the community and their quest to achieve integration and prosperity.
Our gathering here today reaffirmed the founding principles of our fathers and also of our organization, established to promote economic integration, peace and prosperity for our region through cooperation and solidarity.
The meeting then went into a closed-door session which lasted several hours. Upon resumption, agreement by the authority on the request by Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso to exit the sub-regional body was conveyed to all present.
The authority takes note of the notification by Burkina Faso, Republic of Mali, and the Republic of Niger of their decision to withdraw from ECOWAS. The authority acknowledges that in accordance with the provisions of Article 91 of the revised ECOWAS Treaty, the 3 countries will officially cease to be members of ECOWAS from 29 January 2025.
The authority has also set a space of 6 months as a transitional period during which the countries can be readmitted back into the Union. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
In the meantime, the military regimes of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger have announced that their 3 countries are a visa-free zone for all nationals of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. And this was made known in a statement read out on Malian public television by Mali's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Abdoulaye Diop. He, however, said that member states of the Confederation of Sahel states reserve the right to refuse entry into the territory to any national of the Sahel state who falls into the category of inadmissible immigrants.
De circuler. La Confédération des États du Sahel, AES, est un espace sans visa pour tout ressortissant des États membres de la Communauté économique des États de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, CEDEAO. 2. Les ressortissants de la CEDEAO ont le droit d'entrer, de circuler, de résider, de s'établir et de sortir sur le territoire des États membres de la Confédération des États du Sahel dans le respect des textes nationaux en vigueur. 3. Toutefois, les États membres de la Confédération des États du Sahel se réservent le droit, conformément à leurs lois et règlements, de refuser l'entrée sur leur territoire à tout ressortissant de la CEDEAO entrant dans la catégorie.
And for context, we're joined by an African Affairs analyst, Kopep Dabugat. He joins us from Jos Plateau State, Nigeria. Good evening, glad to have you join me on the news. Let me kick off by asking what your impression is of the announcement that Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger have created a visa-free zone.
Well, thank you very much. I think for the reality of what it is, nothing has really changed because before now, the ECOWAS protocol on the freedom of movement establishment has already guaranteed a visa-free zone for West African states across board. So now this arrangement they are making is, to provoke, responses from ECOWAS. And on my own part, so far, I haven't seen ECOWAS said anything on anything specific. So ECOWAS has only mandated the ECOWAS Commission to go ahead and initiate formal moves, formal actions to adjust to the withdrawal of this country. So if they eventually withdraw fully, which would be between January and July of next year, then ECOWAS can actually move on ahead without them. But of course, I know that negotiations are going on and they are going to continue. So hopefully we may not reach there. But for now, the visa-free zone arrangement is not something that changes anything. It's simply to say, okay, we are really committed to leaving the ECOWAS and we are already putting in place
let's talk about
modalities to ensure that.
Just to follow up on that, build up on that train of thought, talking about ECOWAS and then these three countries pulling out of ECOWAS. I recall, the president of Senegal, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, was appointed to help mediate or negotiate their comeback into ECOWAS. What do you think ECOWAS can do, to potentially re-engage them, that is Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, after the transitional periods end?
Well, I think it's only natural that for the past 40 or so years that ECOWAS has been, has existed and has kept all these 15 countries together. There are, whether we like it or not, a lot of bonds that have been developed, a lot of arrangements, institutional arrangements, a lot of flow of capital as well as flow of people and activities that have been established. So these are links that would take some time to clear, but beyond, let's say, July of next year, if these countries eventually exit the ECOWAS fully, then I think the arrangements that were in place before then would form a basis for a sort of partnership between ECOWAS and the Confederation of Sahelian States, which would guarantee some level of amiable understandings that will ensure that the linkages already established in the past would not really be completely severed, because some of these linkages are actually mutually beneficial, so it may not really be wise to break them. So I feel that ECOWAS and the Confederation of Sahelian states, if it eventually becomes a separate bloc, would have to sign a definitive agreement that defines a path for the future.
It's interesting you touched on benefits. Now let's talk about the merits, of these three countries pulling out of ECOWAS. What do you think could be the economic or even potential disadvantages for these three countries, and also for the bloc, that's ECOWAS, considering the current instability in the Sahel region?
I have always said this, and I think some time back, even on this News Central, I have said this, that the benefits for these countries staying in ECOWAS far outweighs the benefits for them to leave. Because economically, it is not really looking like a wise decision, given that they have just barely about 7% of the economic power of the, about 7% of the population, total population of the ECOWAS region, as well as perhaps about 21% of the economic power combined of the ECOWAS region. So taking 20% out of 80, would really take a lot to have that 20 stand on its own. But the argument that these countries are pushing is the argument for their own resources, of controlling their resources and utilizing those to develop themselves. Don't forget, Niger has a huge deposit of uranium. Burkina Faso and Mali have some good levels of gold, and some other mineral resources, including oil here and there across these three countries. So it is looking at these resources. Yes, eventually these countries can be able to stand on their own if there is prudent management. But don't forget, we are facing countries that are under military rule. And military rule is an uncertain system of governance. The next day, we can see another coup happen in any of these countries, and all these plans would go, into the drain. So for me, I think we are facing an uncertain time. We will not definitely be sure that these countries will definitely sustain beyond this period. But for now, I think ECOWAS is doing the right thing by continuing to push forward the negotiations, the discussions, even in the light of the fact that the same countries are saying that their exit is irreversible, and even in the light that they have confirmed that they are going to exit. So come even beyond that time, ECOWAS has committed to continue to engage. And I think that's the spirit that ECOWAS should imbibe in this.
Fingers crossed, we'll see how things take shape regarding these three African countries willing to pull out of the ECOWAS bloc. Thank you so much for your time on the news. Kopep Dabugat, African Affairs Analyst, many thanks indeed for your time on the news.
Thank you as well. Thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure always.
Staying with development at the 66th ECOWAS Authority Heads of State and Government, President Bola Tinubu has called on West African leaders to emulate Ghana's recent peaceful elections, praising the democratic maturity displayed. He made it known at the 66th ECOWAS Summit in Abuja. Tinubu commended Ghana's outgoing president, Nana Akufo-Addo, and the vice president for accepting electoral defeat, setting a regional example of respect for voters' will. President Tinubu highlighted ECOWAS strides in regional integration, counterterrorism, and peacekeeping missions in nations like Guinea-Bissau. He urged renewed commitment to economic growth and security as ECOWAS nears its 50th anniversary. Leaders from across West Africa attended the summit, reinforcing the bloc's shared vision for unity and progress.
The President Nana Akufo-Addo and the people of Ghana for the successful election, and urge all of us in the region to learn from this good democratic practice and prioritize our country's national unity to ensure political stability of the region. That this manner of peaceful transition, because the culture of democracy is not only in West Africa, but also in the entire African continent. At this junction, let me take time and give a special validatory to one of us, Mr. Democrat. Attending ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Head of State and Government, Your Excellency, President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana. Thank you for being who you are.
Meanwhile, Nigeria has paid its accrued debt owed the Economic Community of West African States to the tune of 85 billion naira. President of the ECOWAS Commission, Omar Toure, disclosed this in a statement at the opening of the 66th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government in Abuja. He said while the community had suffered slow response from member states in remitting their levies, Nigeria, under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, has cleared its levies from 2023 to date. The ECOWAS president also lauded the efforts of President Bola Tinubu, the federal government of Nigeria, for always supporting the efforts of the regional bloc.
News, and indeed a very good news, is that for the first time in 19 years, Nigeria has decided to pay 100% of its community levy from 2023. I am therefore pleased to announce that on Friday, 13th December 2024, Nigeria paid 85 billion naira and 54 million US dollars, representing 100% of the 2023 levy and the levy of 2024 up to July 2024. We all agree that this payment underscores the leadership and commitment of President Ahmed Tinubu, the government and the people of Nigeria to our community. At a more personal level, it represents a mark of confidence in the management that I have been privileged to lead since 2022.
After the break, Nigerian military destroys Lakurawa's camps, neutralizes many terrorists. Details shortly. Join us again. Thank you for staying tuned. And now to security matters, where the Nigerian military says that it has intensified its offensives against new terrorist sect Lakurawa with the commencement of Operation Chase Lakurawa Out in the Jibia area of Katsina State, Safe area of Zamfara State, and Tangaza area in Sokoto State. And this is following the arrival of Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa to Sokoto State to boost ongoing military operations. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu tells us more.
The busy Sokoto-Gusau-Katsina road back to life after months of intense battle with terrorists who have unleashed terror on citizens and commuters in the area.
Dan ga kwanakin bayan da muka yi aikin gona muna cikin matsala mu je da gudu mu dawo da gudu amma yanzu cikin hukuncin Allah yanzu gaskiya alhamdulillah wannan kwanakin a cikin wannan kwanakin an samu sauki amma a can baya kayan a ce ma'aikata mun sha wahala amma yanzu alhamdulillah sabanin last year ko kuma 6 months da suka wuce banda su dauki mutanen rana da yamma amma daga 2 months da suka wuce lafiya launi.
The General Officer commanding 8th Division of the Nigerian Army and Commander of Sector 2 Operation Fansanyama, Brigadier General Ibikunle Ajose, revealed that the operation tagged Operation Chase Lakurawas Out commenced about a week ago and has recorded significant successes. He says that this is evident as citizens have now returned to their different sources of livelihoods.
We commenced precursor operations under Operation Forest Sanity 3, a subsidiary operation of Operation Fasanyama, which we tagged Chase Lakurawas Out. It commenced about a week ago, and it has been very, very successful. We have cleared a number of forests. We have destroyed a number of their camps.
The commanding officer of the 4th operating base in Tangaza, Sokoto State, disclosed that recent clearance operations targeted at dislodging the Lakurawa terrorists has been successful.
We carry out clearance operation in the general area of Sarma, Pauni, and Tsona. The Lakurawas have an entry along Sarma village where they infiltrate into this local government. So, and they hibernate within that general area of Sarma and Boni, and also in Businia Forest. We are able to carry out that operation on the 1st of December, and we clear them in this local government. And we are able to push them to the general area of Gudu, which on the 8th of December, we successfully finish the limited precursor operation.
Look, when you are talking of terrorists or whatever, here you cannot identify because we are one. We and the Niger, you cannot differentiate. We are all the same. Even myself here, I have one wife from Niger.
The officer lamented the challenges posed by local sympathizers and informants who collaborate with the terrorists.
There are a lot of sympathizers and also informants. Before we go out of any operation, these sympathizers and informers usually call and inform the terrorists about our patrols.
A set of special forces deployed by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has arrived Sokoto on Thursday to complement the ongoing operations against the Lakurawas.
Still staying with security matters, the federal government said it has recorded a major breakthrough in its fight against terrorism, securing over 200 convictions during Phase 6 terrorism trials at the Kanji Detention Facility from December 9th to 13th, 2024. And this was made known by the Office of the National Counterterrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor. Sentences range from the death penalty to life imprisonment in terms of 20 to 70 years. Those convicted includes individuals guilty of heinous crimes like attacks on civilians, abductions, and terrorism financing. The trials, overseen by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and the National Counterterrorism Center, adhere to global judicial standards. Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Lateef Fagbemi, and National Security Advisor Nuhu Rubadu praised the judiciary and security forces, urging Nigerians to remain vigilant in ensuring national security. Away from security matters, Nigeria's federal government is called on citizens to embrace dialogue and mutual understanding as key foundations for rebuilding trust between the government and the people. The statement was made by the country's Minister of Budget and Economy during the closeout events for the Project Trust Initiative and the launch of Connected Development Strategic 5-Year Plan. Our correspondent Joshua Imarayi was there and now reports.
It was the closeout event for the Project Trust Initiative, facilitated by the pro-transparency group The Connected Development. The event, held in Nigeria's capital Abuja, was attended by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, alongside other key players in the transparency space. Organizers say that the Project Trust Initiative was conceived to promote social accountability and transparency, ensuring that Nigerians can fully enjoy the dividends of democracy.
From the title of the presentation, of the project itself, it's trying to emphasize how we can improve trust deficits. 7% of Nigerians believe that elected officials and election institutions cannot be trusted. So that's where the challenge is. We need to improve on that. We need to curb these things.
So for us is to continue to galvanize voices. And today you have representatives from the 6th geopolitical zone. What are the lessons we're learning? At the subnational level, how can we ensure that whatever happened at the national trickle down to the subnational and the local government? Today we have a local government autonomy, meaning that more resources will go to local government so that citizens will enjoy the dividends of democracy. But if there is no trust, then citizens would not accept what government is doing, and government will continue to isolate themselves.
Also speaking, Nigeria's Minister of Budget and Economic Planning urged citizens to engage more with government so as to build trust in governance.
The number one key to building trust is to remove presumptuousness so that we can listen to each other. We can maybe share, sympathize with each other, and generate an irreducible minimum consensus that we believe can mobilize and unify us.
At the end of the event, a 5-year strategic plan for the connected development was launched. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Iwarai.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has imposed a 150 million naira fine on banks involved in illegal distribution of mint naira notes to currency hawkers. This crackdown follows concerns about the increasing commodification of the naira, which hinders efficient cash distribution. In a statement by Acting Corporate Communications Director Sidi Ali Hakama, the CBN reaffirmed that old 1,000 naira, 500 naira notes, and 200 naira notes remain legal tender as per Supreme Court's ruling. The CBN, through a circular by Acting Currency Operation Director Mohammed Olayemi, announced intensified spot checks and mystery shopping at ATMs and hawking hotspots. Repeat offenders face stricter penalties under BOFIA 2020. Banks are urged to strengthen cash management controls to curb illicit transactions. And to unpack this, we're joined by a chartered accountant, Akin Fatunke. Good evening, glad to have you join me on the news. Let me kick off by asking, how you think this new directive will impact the operations of deposit money banks, that's DMBs. What additional costs or operational challenges might be in the way?
Thank you very much, Adebola. Thanks for having me. Effectiveness over efficiencies at any point in time not only saves perception, it also helps to reduce costs. I would therefore say that the central bank waking up, has been awake, but now being much more effective to impose fines on deposit money operators who follow these new directives is a move in the right direction. Is it going to cost the banks more? I cannot, for the life of me, in cost measurement, think that it will. First of all, it ensures that the deposit money operators move in line with BOFIA. The auditors will come, the forensic auditors will come, and they will come clean. Besides, it also means that these banks will be able to galvanize the trust of the public. Don't forget, 1 month ago, precisely 1 month ago from about now, the central bank came forcefully to denounce the rumor that's been making the rounds that 1,500, 200 are going out of circulation. I mean, the Supreme Court has made clear pronouncements, yet to find 5th, 6th, 7th columnists come because of what they want to achieve. So the central bank coming in here, making it effective over efficiency, stands us well, stands our quality well, stands our image as Nigeria well, and then makes the banks to come shining and smelling like rose.
I know you talked about this galvanizing public trust, also citing effectiveness, over efficiency. I mean, looking at the banks themselves, what measures can be taken to prevent banks from circumventing this regulation?
Very simple, Adibala.
I mean, it's common sense that when you catch an offender, when you catch 2 or 3 offenders and make them to face the full wrath of the law, every other person will sit up. I tell you that. Like I said, it's in the interests of deposit money operators to eschew from within the system the collaborators, because this has gone on and there are collaborators within the CBN. I must say, now with the deposit money operators, whereby you see something, take your eyes off, at the end of the day, you go under the table to begin to share money. I know these are tough, terrible statements. Otherwise, it will not be. I cannot, for the life of me, understand why illegal hawkers will grab hold of new means if it didn't come through this process of collaboration that I'm talking about. And some people are benefiting. And that's one of the reasons why, if you look at your money supply, your M1 and all that, you may not be able to adequately capture it in such a way and manner that you don't have leakages. And when such leakages come, well, who suffers? You and I, at the end of the day, we will suffer. Now, this means are taken to the illegal hawkers, both by conniving customers to go to parties, to go to mutilate. At the end of the day, the Naira notes that are, we call them filthy, it's not even good and healthy for you and I. My mind tells me that if CBN takes a hard, critical decision, it will have gone far to let people. Okay, you remember when the headmaster, Mr. Cardoso, came out about the issue of concentrating his efforts on regulation. This is an area of regulation. And I know people were throwing stones there and there. You don't move regulations from certain areas to certain areas. If this is effectively done, he will have been able to put a stamp of authority that we said so, and it should be all-encompassing.
I know you touched on this directive impacting public trust, but then expatiate further how this can, influence operations of the banking sector.
It will make them much more efficient. I want to believe governance within the banking system will be enhanced. I also want to believe that Nigeria has been dubbed one way or the other of virtually all sectors as fantastically corrupt, including elements of our monetary. All this while, we now have a new sheriff in town who has decided that what he's going to do is to look at regulations, okay? Now, if we are going to be having mystery shopping, if we are shoppers, now if we are going to also be doing spot checks, if we are going to be making controls over controls, because controls breaks down if there are no discipline over controls. If you now make it mandatory that those who are regulating can also be regulated by whistleblowing, if you can enhance the public trust, and banks and the tellers at the banks know that they are being watched, if you can enhance within the banking system, okay, remote sensing to be able to capture when we are doing the wrong thing, either at the ATM till or across the counter, then can always be found. Come to think about it, Sadibola, you can trace the money. Illegal monies, illicit monies can be traced from drugs, you can trace them, so why can't we not therefore trace money that have been given to specific deposit money operators?
And that's
if anything has gone wrong in between,
apologies, I have to butt in there. I wish we had more time. We're pressed for time. Thank you so much for your expertise on the news. Akin Fatsunke, a chartered accountant, many thanks indeed for your insight on the news.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
The NDLA has intercepted drug shipments worth 3.3 billion naira at the Tinkan seaport in Lagos. The consignment, concealed in auto parts from Canada, includes 83.3 kilograms of methamphetamine and 867.5 kilograms of loud, a potent cannabis strain. 3 businessmen connected to the drugs are Isaac Onumere, Wanolue Emeka, and Friday Ogbe were arrested. In Rivers State, the agency seized 4.4 billion naira worth of codeine-based syrup from shipments originating in India. NDLEA Chairman Brigadier General Buba Mawa commended the operatives, affirming the agency's capacity to track and intercept drug consignment. The seizures follows extensive intelligence work, with the NDLEA continuing its war against drug abuse campaigns nationwide. The management of Enyiba FM radio station, Aba, is calling on the Abia State government to consider the plight of its staff should the station stop airing. Abia State government on Wednesday sealed off the permanent site of Enyiba radio station in Aba, still under construction, with a claim the structure is meant for a different thing. But Michael Oni, the station manager, denied the claims, describing them as unfounded. The Governor Alex Oti has also directed the authorities involved to investigate the matter properly before further actions are taken. Most worrisome to them is that just when the station was recuperating after the November 2nd, 2024 fire incident that destroyed the entire 3 studios of Enyiba FM, Rose FM, and Legend FM, the state government decided to toe a different line. Governor Alex Oti had, upon visit to the station after the fire incident, promised to assist them get back on their feet again, but during the recent media chat said he was told the building was for a hotel.
Asked both the Greater Urban Development Agency and Urban Town Planning Authority to hold on until we get the facts of the case. Okay? Clearly, we made a release to say that the radio station nor the TV station were involved in the hotel, and that is sensible. And we also advise the radio station to stay away from things that are concerned.
Coming up, there has been deadlock in the DRC and Rwanda peace talks. Details shortly. Join us again. Thank you for staying tuned. In Central Africa, a summit between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda has been abruptly cancelled after the latest round of talks to ending the fight in the eastern DRC resulted in a deadlock. The talks between delegations from both sides stalled overnight over Rwanda's demand that the DRC open direct dialogue with the Kigali-backed M23 rebel group that has seized sway of the eastern DRC since 2021, displacing thousands and triggering a humanitarian crisis. There had been high hopes that DR Congo leader Felix Tshisekedi and his Rwanda counterpart Paul Kagame would sign the peace deal at summit hosted by Angolan President João Lourenço. The African Union designated mediator in the dispute between the neighboring countries. But after the talk stalled late Sunday, Rwanda officials said Kagame decided not to travel to Luanda for the meeting. Outside the African continent, newly appointed interim governor of Damascus, Mahama Mawan, says 90% of the employees in the city's governorate have returned back to work a week after a lightning rebel offensive toppled longtime leader Bashar al-Assad. The governor, who commended the people for their resilience, called for solidarity during a meeting with journalists at his office in the Syrian capital. Syrians are only now beginning to scratch the surface of the atrocities committed after the former despot fled the country for Russia. Assad fled Syria last Sunday following a 11-day rebel offensive led by the Islamist militant group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, bringing a dramatic end to more than 50 years of Assad rule.
نحن حاليا نعمل على إعادة استمرارية العمل في المحافظة. أوعزنا لجميع الموظفين والكوادر للرجوع إلى مهنهم والرجوع إلى وظائفهم، والحمد لله بنسبة 90% رجعوا إلى وظائفهم. التي تواجهنا في الوقت الحالي هي
The Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission has vowed to drive Nigeria's economic growth by safeguarding existing investments and luring new ones through strategic partnerships. Lekon Onobanjo brings us details in this report.
The Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, has reaffirmed its commitment to boosting Nigeria's economic growth by retaining existing investments and attracting new ones through a series of strategic partnerships. The NIPC Executive Secretary Aisha Rimi told newsmen in Abuja on Sunday that the initiatives aligned with President Bola Tinubu's 8-point agenda. Rimi restated the NIPC's role in creating an enabling environment for investors, emphasizing the importance of collaboration with stakeholders, including state governments, international partners, and the private sector. To ensure the objective of preventing and checkmating corruption within the system, members of the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit at the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy have taken oaths of compliance. At a brief ceremony held in the ministry, the head of the Anti-Corruption Unit of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Nkem Ezemwa, administered the oath of allegiance to the Marine and Blue Economy ACTU unit team. At the inauguration, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, Oloruntola Olufemi, called on the new MM and BEACTU members to exhibit zero tolerance for corruption and any other offensive practices which is related to financial embezzlement within the established system of the ministry. Ghana's incoming president, John Mahama, said a financing program with the International Monetary Fund will limit his government's ability to undertake immediate radical reforms a week after voters handed him a hefty mandate to fix the nation's crippling debt burden and high cost of living. The West African nation last year sought IMF help after it defaulted on debt that had ballooned to almost 100% of gross domestic product by the end of 2022. Under the IMF program, the government must achieve a primary budget surplus of 0.5% of GDP by the end of this year. A key oil refinery in western Libya suspended operations after armed clashes erupted early on Sunday, causing fires in several storage sites and units, the state petrol company said. Libya's National Oil Corporation declared a force majeure because several Zawiya refinery storage tanks sustained significant damage from gunfire that led to serious fires. Videos posted on social media showed several burning of oil tanks at the refinery in Zawiya, some 45 kilometers, that's 28 miles west of the capital, Tripoli. It is the only refinery supplying the local market with fuel products. Many thanks for watching Business News. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
And up next is sports news.
In the world of sport, Nigeria rugby team, the Black Stallions, have departed for Jamal, Tunisia, the venue of the 2024 African Rugby Cup, due to begin on December 16, 2024. Ahead of the much-anticipated competition, the president of the Nigerian Rugby Football Federation, NRFF, Dr. Ademola Are, has urged the Black Stallions to strive for excellence and bring glory to the nation. The Black Stallions held a brief training in camp in Abuja before departing for Tunisia. Upon arrival, the team will wrap up their preparations ahead of their first match on December 18, 2024. The Stallions will compete against hosts nation Tunisia, Ghana and Zambia in the group stage. The winner of the group will advance to face Morocco, the reigning champions from the other qualifiers, for a spot in the final phase of the competition. This marks Nigeria's return to 15-a-side rugby competition for the first time since 2019, making it a crucial milestone for the team. Black Bulls of Maputo stunned Nigerian giants Aimba with a dominant 3-0 win in Group D of the CAF Confederation Cup match on Sunday. Rumer Akporo's first half header set the tone before second half strikes from Fidel Sausa and Ayuba Francis secured the result. Aimba struggled to respond, leaving them bottom of the group. Elsewhere, Simba edged CS Fasien 2-1 in a thrilling Group A encounter at the Benjamin Parker Stadium. The visitors struck first through Hazem Haj Hassan, but Simba responded with Kibu Dennis heading in a goal in the 7th minute. The Tanzanian side dominated the second half and Dennis completed his brace in a dire moment to seal the victory. Meanwhile, South African club Stellenbosch snatched a narrow 1-0 away win over Sindelunde Sol. Devin Titus's late header in the 89th minute proved decisive as the South African side moved to third place in Group B. Amad Diallo scored a stunning winner for Manchester United to turn a dramatic derby as Manchester City collapsed again to continue their miserable run under Pep Guardiola. Yoskova Diol's first half header looked to have settled a clash that was low in quality until Diallo pushed a weak back pass from Matheus Nunes to win Ruben Amorim's side a late penalty. Bruno Fernandes stepped up to equalize as the clock ticked over 90 minutes before Diallo struck again to reach a through pass, flicked the ball over Ederson and squeezed a finish to spark wild scenes in the away end. The result means City have now lost 8 of their last 11 games. Finally, in the world of sport, Caymanian Jordan Crooks is now a 2-time world champion after defending his 50-meter freestyle title at the Duna Arena in Budapest on Sunday. A monumental result on the heels of his world record-setting performances less than 24 hours ago. Crooks finished his 50 meters freestyle final in 2:019 to win gold ahead of Gulman Santos in second and Jack Alexi, who finished third. Prior to the final, Crooks became the fastest swimmer in history after breaking the world record not once but twice on Saturday, 14 December 2024. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaru.
And that's all on the news. Let's take a look again at some of the major stories. ECOWAS holds 66th ordinary meeting as President Bola Tinubu urges regional bloc to learn from Ghana's democratic process. NDLEA intercepts 3.3 billion naira drug shipments from Canada, arrests 3. DRC Rwanda peace talks cancelled. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Apple TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adedba. It's bye for now.